All right, test, test, test. 1 2 1 2. Let me get the music going, not blasted in your ears. Just enough to get a copyright strike. That's what we go for. Way too loud. Let's back that up. Test, test. All right, that should be good. How you guys doing? Looks like we are good on YouTube. Twitch is live, and we got X as well. So what's up, guys? Let me know in the chat. How's it sound? Are we good? I'll get a few things going here. Crazy week, and a lot of the stuff that we patiently waited for actually hit this week. So I'm gonna go over it, and it's been really good. And what we're looking for next, I'm gonna cover a bunch of stuff today. Not gonna lie, we have way more tabs than normal, and I'm doing it in a different order. Discord now, we're going live. We'll hop on this. What's up, Sean? My guy. All right, so kick this off. Welcome to the Rainbow Trends stream. This is your dude Runner. We come here every Thursday. We do a stream for about an hour, hour and a half, depending on how much stuff we have, and then we go hang out in the Discord with the OGs. If you have any inkling to figure out why on earth our stuff looks the way it does, it's all Rainbow Theory, Rainbow Trends based. 10,000 lines of code, at least. We're actually over that. And we convert our charts to basically give us an edge. So if you're interested in any of that, check us out at the website rainbowtrends.com. We now have both domains now, thank God. Multiple years to get that. And per the usual, this stream is intended to be used for educational purposes only. It's not to be used as financial advice. But let's get going. Starting off, let me know, can you guys hear me? I want to make sure that's right before I mess this up. It's looking on my end like we're good, but every time I have to hop on OBS, I never really know. So it's good. All right, let's get going. So, if you guys can, like, comment, subscribe, really helps out the algos. So anyway, yeah, and likewise, back to saying, like, normal charts look like this. You want to see about all this, we're going to go through all these Rainbow 3 setups this week that have hit, all the stuff we've been playing out, and how to kind of read these tools using kind of to get an edge on the markets. But starting off, if you don't believe me, we had a pretty cool thing. We've had Locust hanging out for a while in the Discord, and he's been playing with the tools for a while, and I wanted to share this. He actually posted some killer longs when we finally got the reversion bounce that we've been wanting. Still working on my strategy and proficiency with the suite of tools, but liking it so far. Added a Barra perp with a Barra spot blaster from earlier in week, so blah, 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 TPing aggressively into it. Starting to use Hyperliquid at the same time, so I'm learning experience at all. The dude's been killing it. A lot of alts went nuts, and a lot of the dudes in the Discord attacked the living hell out of it with it. But I wanted to share this mainly because this is pretty cool. Because it's one thing for me to say I like the tools because I wrote them, but it's another thing to see the dudes like being successful with it and like giving props. So he's saying, I have traded for a long time, but this suite is definitely a new experiment. So right now I'm checking what looks like what from now I normally would trade to how this looks. It's definitely an amazing layer of extra confluence. While I find out what all of the settings do and fine tune it to make it better. Killer tool so far. And you actually notice that none of my stuff repaints. It's a lot of the tools that like I'm a competitor with repaint and make a lot of stuff kind of look fake. It adjusts to make stuff look more accurate, but when you actually start using it, it repaints, and you find a lot of issues with it. So it's cool to see that because I spend a lot of time making sure none of the tools repaint. But anyway, moving on. Unfortunate the security stuff I got to cover. We normally alert this out on the Discord anytime we see an issue. And if you guys are understood or not, or aware of it, Coinbase was hacked. And about less than 1% of the Coinbase users were affected, but their personal information was given out. Their names, their addresses, partial social security, as well as their identifications, which is really unfortunate. If you are one of those dudes, I'm very sorry because unfortunately, a lot of people who are known to be well off in crypto are getting targeted and hacked, as well as kidnapped. We're starting to see a lot more kidnaps and stuff. It's really shitty. So I'm very sorry this happened. As much as I love Coinbase, I'm continually growing apart from them, and I'm going more towards Kraken. So if you guys don't know, I talk about it a lot because this took forever to do, but I highly take this chance for you guys to go check out Coinbase, or Kraken for Coinbase. It's the only exchange that I actually endorse. There's only been like 3 affiliates I've ever worked with, and it's only stuff that I actually dig. I really like the Kraken team. I like their apps. I've been bot trading with them for probably 8 months now, and I've had nothing but great success with their API handshakes and stuff like that. Really, really good uptimes. Their fees are lower. The freaking GUI, like the mobile app's fantastic. For some reason, I'm having more issues with the Coinbase apps. I don't know how they keep getting worse, because I really liked what we had back in the GDAX days. But if you guys want to give them a try, definitely go check out our boy Jesse. And we have an affiliate link, so if you guys want to check those out. And if you sign up, shoot me a DM or an email and show me like a screenshot you guys signed up, and I'll give you 10% off Rainbow Trends for life. I can do that on the back end. So anyway, but following up, you're going to see a lot of memes everywhere. Coinbase stuff is pretty bad. Phone, email, etc. Probably happens more than we realize. But the addresses, balances, and photo ideas just make asking for users to be hunted. Would be completely done with Coinbase after this, but they announced that they added 4-hour candles to their exchange this week, so he's going to stay on board. So if you guys don't know, like they dropped this major announcement, and then in the middle of the announcements they announced that they added H4 candles to their charting software. So shout out them. But if you didn't know, we have been trading the Coinbase drop down. A lot of dudes in the Discord have been trading this. I call these in the Rainbow Theory like world of made up terms, I call these yin yang trades. Basically we go band to band. The whales dive into the bottom reversion bands, and eventually the bulls wake up and they fight back with a fury to at least normally, not always, but normally smash into these reversion bands. It's a trade we play a lot because most people are scared to touch this type of price action, but when we get the signal, we tend to hit it pretty hard. And you can actually see the whale prints and stuff starting to defend this layer in this pivot, in this reversion band, and it popped. And what's interesting enough, it actually tagged the Mali pivot to a T and rolled over. So if you look at these blue pluses, this is the actual Mali pivot tools named after Malifestro. Went all the way up here, hit it, and it rolled over. Coinbase, if you actually want to call it from like the wick, you're not going to catch the wick, but you do have a chance to DCA decently. But call yourself the brilliant person that you are. It's a 90% move you could have caught at least a piece of, right? So forget how you want to DCA into it, depending on how you played your colors and your bands. If you'd have bit the first one, that's 25%. Second range is 42. Third range is like 65. But this is really where it drove down, and we actually started getting some actual bull whale prints, these green triangles here. So you're actually seeing them step in. We also saw the S&P kind of bottom as well, and then this thing went all the way up, and it went violently. So we actually went from white candles all the way up to pink candles, red band to green band. Giant move. Awesome move. Textbook. So we've been talking about a lot of these setups, so I'm going to walk you through how these played out, because you could go check the old streams. They're all archived on YouTube, and we're live right now on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter, thanks to the power of Restream. But you can see what we did here, and we've been talking about these setups, and they play out. TradeFi is slow compared to crypto, so bear with me, because we've been talking about this stuff for a while. But it's so textbook, I wanted to show you guys this, because this is like what we go for. Band to band, yin yang trade. You won't find these terms otherwise, so I have to explain them live on stream. But that's the Coinbase one, right? And now with the news here, I'd be scared to touch it. But it went right up to our pivot. It hit the Mali pivot as well. We hit pink candles, and we're starting to roll over. This is where we take profits. This is where we buy, right? I know it's easy to say that in hindsight, but like we have a lot of traders in the Discord that traded this live, so go watch them and see what they've done, see how they talked about it. They post a lot of cool charts. Another one I wanted to pop out and take a look at, just because we haven't talked about Doppelbait in a very long time. So send Doppel some love. If you don't know Doppel Itchy, he's one of my favorite OGs of all time. Much love, Dop. And this dude loves accumulation cylinders. And I was looking at GE today. And I'll be damned if this isn't an accumulation cylinder going into crazy price discovery. We're actually getting white RSI on the H4, which is crazy. This had a really weird split way back in the day. All the numbers had to get readjusted a long time ago. And I've been just watching this play out. I think I'm up about 50% so far, but wanted to just bring this up because it's starting to do a really clean cylinder, a lot like what Malifestro was playing in on the Bros chart a few weeks ago. And it's really interesting to see if this breaks through down. This is maybe, I need to start looking at some profit areas to re-enter down here as this plays out, if it plays out. Or it just breaks out of this accumulation thing because it's so cool. But anyway, moving on. We're gonna try to do this in 60 minutes. So if you guys want to see a particular ticker, drop it in the chat, and I'll try to queue it up as I go through this. But moving on. Another safety thing, Curve Finance. Originally, they saying all the smart contracts are safe. Their website domain was seized, and a malicious link was posted on the website. They couldn't get control of it, and then it apparently got worse, and it started compromising more and more things. I don't use Curve. It's one of the... as much as I love Tetranode and have learned so much from him, I don't mess with stuff that's on his gauntlets, and Curves is one of those gauntlets. But let's take a look at the chart if you guys want, because it's kind of interesting. If you can't notice, if you don't notice, there's actually some repeatability here in what we're looking at. It looks like we actually have a channel walker happening on this. Despite the news, you would expect the hack for this thing to just drop off the face of the earth. But welcome to crypto, where the points are made up and the rules don't matter. But that's roughly what we're looking at. So if you actually want to get into some like predictable stuff, ride it till it doesn't make sense anymore. We're seeing the same color rotations over and over and over on this thing, and we're getting runnerbot top signals on a majority of these pumps, and we're starting to get bottom signals on these as well. So play with those as you needed. I haven't been touching it, but just wanted to point that out and bring it up. Since we look at news articles, I tend to link it along the way. But anyway, moving on. So big stuff. United Healthcare Group is under criminal investigation for possible Medicare fraud. So if you guys don't remember, this is the one that had the issue, the big news event with the CEO getting murdered. And today it was announced that they were actually being investigated. So it's really interesting to see that this bad boy completely nuked. And we started seeing a bunch of option trades come in to long this thing. A bunch of calls came in pretty hot. So if you look on the H1, let's see an H4 real quick. You know, I was watching this, was it H2 or H1 today? Yeah. This thing nuked. Bear well clusters all over the place, all the way to white candles on pink RSIs with a big volume impulse. So I managed to get in this morning, may or may not have gotten in this morning, and I'm going to see where this goes. This is frankly one of the craziest charts like ever. Check this out. Hotpins was posting charts about this. Like, if you turn log off, it's ridiculous. Yeah, turn log off and look at this. This is crazy. 2020 5-year run completely erased. It's wild. Will it bounce? If they can save it, like if the company doesn't go under, we'll see. In the past, when it touches those bands, it tends to violently pop. So we're playing with fire on this one because we're trying to long something with news like a fraudulent thing. But welcome to being a degenerate. It's pretty crazy. There was a ton of buy volume on this today. So we'll see where this goes. But anyway, that's a lot of the news ones I wanted to cover. Let me clear the tabs. Coinbase, that one. And this is the big theme. This is not, probably should have covered this more in the beginning, but let me give you guys the theme and like kind of the title of why this thing was titled the way it was. Reversion roadmaps. We're looking at yin-yang trades on a lot of stuff. We're looking at bottoms being formed macro-wise, and we're looking how they interpret. And if you look here, Mally posted this on April 23rd. The reversion trader me wants to take the rest of the week off. And then he posted it, I think it was today. I think the market has been prepped to TP frequently recently, primarily due to fear, but we've entered a trend. Reversion Mally left the chat 2 weeks ago. So if you don't know how to read Mally, he's telling you he's been getting long. And he's thinking this is just a temporary pullback, and we're looking for actually extended durations up, which I'm going to cover some things today to cover that. Speaking of unusual things as well, or where the trends go, I meant to pull this up earlier, but this is truly egregious. On May 13th, someone put in, was it 2 or 3 days ago, $25 million in premium, 10,000 in volume, in United Healthcare puts, betting that the stock would drop. They've made $80 million. So if you think the insiders don't trade, they do. Anyway, moving on. This was a good one I wanted to cover. This is a big thing about rainbow theory in general, and I'll cover this because this is like the general sentiment that they bait you into, and you somewhat have to do the opposite in your trading and look at the colors and see what the market's really doing, what the whales are doing. That's just kind of like part of it. And on this one in particular, this is Tim Waltz making fun of Tesla. If you guys don't know, since he's posted this video, Tesla's, I think, up over 50% on spot. But check this out.
On my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, you know, and take out, just telling you.
So anyway, fun stuff. Glad he's basically called the bottom, but this is just one of those things where you look like a market signal. Sorry, I just blasted the music. That's what we're really looking at. But if you guys don't know, we've been covering this trade since March. So over 2 months, we've been covering this setup over and over again, continuously through Tesla's history. Every time they talk about Tesla being the absolute demon of the world, they push it into these rev bands. Eventually the colors rotate, the RSI rotates. We start pulling up out of the reversion band and we pump. This was a 115% move back in the day when the entire media turned on Elon. Another drive here that popped. And this is the one we're playing right now. And we marked this one. We started entering it and we said, hey, we've got to wait for this thing to show support. We don't know how far it can go. It can go pretty far. There was a resistance band here of order blocks. And then we have an order block here with a bunch of pivots. And we actually stopped a little bit in between. And we got through here and we started rolling over and actually showing like some colors. We got a Mali print here as well as this traditional pivots. Let me turn on the runabout. I don't know if we got a runabout bottom there, but we'll check. We did. We got a runabout bottom on that candle. So confirmations of all this. Typical thing when you're getting reversion band or bottoms out in the middle over here, I tend to ignore them. I tend to look for these on the ends of the extremes. And we showed support. Not really anything on the volume to read, but it pulled up, waited through this order block. It tested it, 4 times that it finally broke through. And then we've moved up and out. A lot of people in the Discord were trading this. It was really good. If you catch wick to wick, and remember, I keep telling you guys, you aren't going to snipe the bottom here ever. You'll hit it, and if you do, it's because of pure luck. People don't routinely do this. What they do is they try to DCA into this as it rounds, put your stop losses, and then let this baby roll. And this one so far has done 63%. 63% on spot. If we do extended trading hours, you'll notice something really cool with the Mali pivots. On, was it the daily? It was the 4 hour. Hold on. Hold on. Extended trading hours, Tesla. It's not showing up right now. Anyway, I'll come back to that later unless it was on the daily. Let's check daily real quick. No. Oh, why it's not printing? I showed earlier. I'll have to go look back to that. I've got something set wrong. But anyway, move these down. The point is, 63% range to play off of that we had high confluence that this was going to go from band to band. Originally, our reversion bands were up here. We were looking for a TP. These bands have kind of moved down now. And we actually hit pink candles on multiple time frames. And we're kind of rolling over. So, in my opinion, this is a really nice area to count your wins and get out. The predictable part of the trade has happened. We knew we were going to get a reversion here. We knew this wasn't going to go to 0, and it played out, and now it's popped back up. So take it for what it's worth, but it's looking like Tesla's playing out pretty well here. Now the thing is too, is Tesla can run for a very long time. It goes on these crazy trends, but the thing is about these yin-yang trades, when we go band to band, and I love that rappers now say we can go band to band now. This is the home run move, band to band, right? That's what we want. Boom, boom. And it's not a vertical assessment. It's kind of a ricochet. Past this, the odds are less likely that it'll go up. This reversion bounce is super likely. So your odds that you get this move are really, really high if you read all this rainbow trend stuff and you get all the read off of it. Without the colors and the tools and stuff, like, I'm blind. I honestly can't do it. There are other guys who can, but to catch these levels, it's really hard. Even though I've got some hand-drawn stuff there. But AMD's played out. That's how you play the reversion band. Unfortunately, I'm telling you, it's probably time to at least sell or move up your stop losses. It is what it is, but that's where it's at. We take advantage when the odds are in favor, and that's how we do this stuff, and that's how the whales play as well. Like, as much as you want to like just long this now, no, it was time to long back here in the reversion bands when people were scared of it, and when like Tim Waltz was making fun of it. That's when you get the chance to kill it. And let me turn those on. Yeah. So I really like white candles in the reversion bands, and then we have pinks on the green side. You can't ask for any better or easier setup. Now it takes time. Like we started watching this from February 25th, and we didn't really exit this trend until like April, right? So keep in mind, it's boring compared to a lot of other stuff. Albeit you could have scalped this stuff. I'm not that big of a guy. I like swing trading, big moves. Wait for the thing to turn, get long, get a chunk of this, whether it's 10%, 20%, 30%, or you risk on and do your stop loss break even. That's how we play it. Moving on, AMD. This is another one we watched for a very long time. This was one of the only Mag 7s that downtrended in what we call a channel walk. This is something I probably need to do dictionary terms in the Rainbow Trends Wikipedia, but it's that's how it's set up. This thing bled from October all the way to April. So what's up, Mim on YouTube? Majority of our guys who text, it's usually YouTube, but Sean's tearing up on Twitch today. Anyway, yeah. This was a channel walk. If you guys don't know what a channel walk is, this is when a whale gets in control and does a steady, calculated move in a linear channel, and then it breaks free, and when it breaks free, it's usually pretty violent. This hugged our reversion bands on the H4 and had some final drives down and out of it. It kind of started making like a cylinder at the bottom of it, but I drew it as a channel for a long time. We watched this fake out. It broke back in, went to the other side, and then it slingshotted it out. This was not as violent as Tesla, and the way it sloped was a little weirder, but it got on our radar. And I unfortunately slept on this one, but we charted it previously, so I was going to show you how this is like a textbook. This is a channel walker with a push into the reversion bands here, all the way to pink candles to here. So it, again, went band to band on a channel walker. You're not going to catch all of it, remember, but the potential was 60% move spot on AMD. So this is something that's been like death for a very long time. Not been doing good like since March of last year, and we finally got a bullish move. Is it boring? Yes, we had to wait a very long time to get this set up, and there was only a 60% move you could do here, but like there's a lot of liquidity in this. There's a lot of predictability in this. Channel walkers are something Rainbow Theory traders trade all the time, and it hits hard, but you have to watch them and spot them in the moment. When our traders are in the moment, they kill. Doing this stuff in hindsight sucks, but like, go check the old streams if you want to think I'm showing you this in hindsight. We've been covering AMD for a while. So anyway, Sean, my email alert from Twitch came in. That's good to know. So we covered a few things here. These are a bunch of the textbooks, things that I wanted to cover. Thank you all for who are calling in. And a quick reminder before we go into the other main theme, because I'm not going through the normal order tonight. I think we're actually going to touch like Bitcoin at the end today. We do these streams for free. I do. I try not to put any paywalls behind them. So if you can, click the like, subscribe, all that type of jazz. We're really trying to grow out the YouTube channel in particular. And it really helps the algo. If you're on Twitch, dude, throw us a like. It costs nothing. But man, these algos are so critical. Moving on. Remember last time we were talking about Windows. Just like price has limitations, whales have limitations on price, whales have limitations on time. This current White House administration is time bound. They can throw a lot of things around that don't matter, but time matters to Donald Trump. There's no way else to put it out there. And why is that? Midterm elections are coming. In 536 days, midterm elections happen in the United States. And I said it last stream, and I drove it in home. These tariffs are scaring the hell out of the market. They're intentionally trying to be unpredictable. They've even said that's part of their strategy so that they can negotiate better. But we've been watching this saying, hey, they can't do this forever. If they do this forever, we will for sure go into a recession, and they will for sure destroy the midterms. And there's one thing a White House administration will never do is destroy their team's chance at a midterm. So while this is 536 days out, the campaigns for the midterms start about a year in advance. So in reality, this clock is ticking, and it's much closer than you can think. And while everyone was absolutely panicking about the recession and no way there's going to be made deals, a week later, we're back here. Bitcoin's over 100K, and a lot of this stuff is reversed. And the S&P has done a lot of crazy things very, very fast off this. So whale theory, rainbow theory, everything has limits. No one has unlimited time. No one has unlimited energy. Everything has colors to it, and everything has to balance out eventually. You can only go so fast for so long. It's like a sprinter versus a long-range marathon runner. In this situation, this was a very short race. This was a sprint, 100-meter dash. Can't go too long, but this is not David Goggins' 100-mile run. Like, that wasn't this situation. We did not have that much time. The White House did not have that much time, right? So, as kind of I'm usually much more degenerate on my Twitter profile. I've really been turning in a lot to more of this before looking at fundamental technical analysis, and now a lot of people are watching what Donald Trump's doing. And this is true. Bitcoin, believe it or not, royally cares what the S&P 500 is doing. Cares heavily. And the S&P 500 right now, the entire world is scared of what this dude was doing. Now they've had resolutions, and lo and behold, we had the S&P erase all 2025 losses. So while they were scared of all this, the tariffs were scary. Triple digits on China, China locking down, wanting to play ball, lockdown for years. Everybody talking for the end. It's getting pretty crazy. But over the weekend, China and the United States met, and it looks like they've made a deal and had a total reset. Where the games of saying, oh, we're not talking, oh, we are talking, those are gone. They have talked. They're making deals. In the next 90 days, they said they're going to reduce the tariffs, and they're making a deal. Numbers are coming down. We're going to open trade back with China. We're going to have a better deal across all markets. This dude's right. Send it all. Everything did send. And we're now getting back to that predictability. He could only play this wild game for so long. And in fact, they've cut Chinese goods to 30% from 145 for the next 90 days. China dropped their tariffs as well in the United States. And in this next 90-day window, they're really going to do their last shenanigans, and then they're going to come to the final terms, hopefully, and then every single thing of these tariffs is lined out with all these countries in 90 days, and the entire world can get stability. Whales do not like risking into stability. Real size whales do not do that. They wait till they have clear guidance, and then they roll from there. And this is the thing that's been very, very unpredictable. They've risked off. We now have clarity on it. So this is completely unrelated, but this is one of my favorite videos. So I really can't tie this into the charts in any way. I just absolutely love it. So this dude's sleeping next to Melania. And then they pan over to Trump. I digress. This is an art channel. Remember, this has nothing to do with charts. We're stocks, right? We're drawing colors. I've backwards engineered TradingView to be my my MS Paint. So S&P 500. This is what matters. We've been covering this for a while. This is a more technical rainbow theory thing because S&P 500 is a lot harder to predict because it's more worldwide, and the moves are a lot less volatile. Albeit this thing tends to go up and to the right over time forever. That being said, previous streams we've heavily covered this, and we defined what whales can do. Rainbow Theory 101. What's the worst that can happen? What's the best that can happen? And then we figure out what our boundaries are. If I know what the worst paint possible is, that's the worst that can happen, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger said at one time, like, what's the worst that can happen trying to become like a weightlifter? He's like, if you fall and hit the floor, he goes, that's the worst you could ever be. You can't get any worse than that, and you get to stand back up. This is us hitting the floor after trying to do a deadlift that we couldn't do. You could still get back up, assuming the bar doesn't hit you, right? So don't get liquidated. But we've been looking at, is this enough a correction? Because people have been scary. These tariffs talks, dude. People were talking. I've seen 3,000 something low. I've seen targets lower than 3,000. I've seen some joke stuff of like it going to zero, but like we see some really wild stuff. And this is my old chart from my old stream where we were talking about like what's the worst that can happen. This is like 1930s recession era levels. Like that's what this was. It's not the saying I'm predicting we're going here, but I'm saying is that's my wall. I'm not really betting that it's possible to go under here. So in general, I want to try to get some action all the way down into here. And truth be told, I got about 25-30% exposure into the S&P 500 down here. Left me a bunch of cash because people were really plotting doom and gloom, and I wanted to have powder in case it dipped here. Now I'm in the game of waiting to see what this does. Right now we're almost back above S&P 6,000, which is crazy in such a short period of time. So we had a nice bounce, but this whole bounce, this whole thing here, this here predicted all of our crypto markets. We were waiting for this to bounce. It did. And now everything's popping up. So I'll relay this, the S&P 500 transition, move it nice and slowly into the cryptos, and then we can see why the S&P 500 is predicting what the liquidity is going to be on Fartcoin. So moving on. If you have questions, let me know in the chat. Sean, it's great to see you here. Mim as well. So we had a 21% move, and because math is hard, we've recovered 22%, even though we haven't got back up to the top. So remember, bulls get the advantage in the math. It's easier to go up than it is down. So where this goes, I don't know. The predictability of a wedge or this type of drawdown bouncing, we're now getting out of that predictability era, right? When you catch this stuff with like rainbow theory, I've got predictability that this is going to bounce. The numbers and the tools in the 10,000 lines of code literally say, hey, this is likely to pop. But as we go higher, we start hitting stuff where it's not as predictable, if that makes any sense. Essentially, you go so far down into these whale prints, these colored candles, everything else like that, you're going to get a turn. And you're at least going to get some type of turn that's going to try to mean revert. And that's why this whole stream is called Reversion Roadmaps. We plotted the reversion turns, we saw the turns, we acted on the turns, and now we're looking at, hey, what's kind of our exits, or do we think this stuff's going to continue on? And that's what this is. Right now, we're almost back up to the all-time highs. So long story short, and every genius in the world is going to tell you, hey, this is a really important level. So right here, it's just going to be a matter, do we break through this and send it? You know, in the next 90 days, do we lock in all the tariffs and this thing just goes? I hope so, because if this happens, we're looking at the Bitcoin crazy numbers that Runner's been talking about with the Mayer multiple actually hitting. We want this thing to go up, price discovery in the S&P. The S&P goes here, we're talking crazy numbers on Litecoin, right? Keep that in mind. So moving on, that's the stage gate, right? We covered rainbow theory, textbook setups, and the TradeFi stocks. We covered the rainbow theory look at how Trump is acting as a whale in relationship to time, the S&P 500 reflecting that, and now we're going to move over into the crypto side, how these things are looking, because this is awesome. This is what we wanted, right? For my Ondo guys, this is going to be your doc, Schultz. This is going to be Crypto ISO. This is going to be T and Me. This is going to be... Who else says one condo equals one condo? I forget. But JP Morgan apparently settled the first public transaction of the tokenized treasury using Ondo public ledger. So it's actually happening. JP Morgan used Ondo, which is cool. We've traded this a few times. I have some friends who trade this, and we've been really good at catching these old barks. You can see the symbols there, or the markups. But in general, you can see... You guess where the Ondo news hit. Guess where JP Morgan predicted or got dropped. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Will print. Big pump there. I say big pump. It was kind of a flash wick because people are like, holy crap, it's kind of cool news. But in general, sorry, it annoys me when these dots are on my screen. Minor things can mess up a stream that's ad-libbed. If you can't tell, I'm not reading a script. Hashtag ProStreamer. But it's actually looking like we're no longer bouncing off sales into that. We're actually getting like higher lows. We're actually seeing bull prints show up, and it looks like we're starting to end our drive up. So anyway, Ondo, pretty cool to see that. Just wanted to share it because I know we've got a bunch of Ondo lovers here. Moving on. This is odd. Steak and Shake is preparing to accept Bitcoin in all locations and offer BC branded burgers. So Steak and Shake, shout out for getting rid of your food dyes and then plastic powder coating a piece of metal to brand the burgers with. This guy's wearing a HEPA filter gas mask for one thing, so it's this is freaky. I don't know why they would do this. If you get gold flakes in your Steak and Shake burger, please let me know. And especially because they make this look like a barbecue pit, because that's weird. But it's cool. Some people have been harassing Steak and Shake over this. Steak and Shake doesn't really have a ticker, so we can look at McDonald's. Shout out McDonald's for having the best breakfast sandwich of all time. Sorry, I'm not sorry. It is the Egg McMuffin. I know they're reporting not so great sales, but just kind of wanted to look at this. This is a previous wedge we were looking at a long time ago. Whew, I don't really mess with this chart. I'm not crazy about their food, to be honest with you. But the Egg McMuffins are amazing. But moving on. We can't talk about this too much. We can't talk about burgers. What's up, Fletch? Hashtag ProStreamer, hashtag... You're absolutely right, Fletch. Fletch on YouTube. One of our oldest OGs. They go back to like the CryptoJack days. Sausage, egg, and cheese. No, Fletch. The best sandwich is the Canadian bacon version. The sausage McMuffin is down a tier. So, Runner is the other runner, the arch nemesis runner on Twitter. He's posted this up. Abraxas Capital, they run a few strategies around Ethereum, but their activity in the past few days stands out. Seems like, A, they buy a lot on Binance. Order flow confirms this. Withdraw and stake it on Lido and borrow USD against it on Aave. Track them on Arkham. This has got Alameda vibes, but you got a dude pushing hard on Ethereum. And shocker, if you guys don't know, the channel walk on Ethereum has broken. And now everybody is loving Ethereum. Very, very few people talked about this as it was printing. And I'm going to point this out why colors matter, why like the rainbow theory stuff is real. We saw this hit. We saw the whales finally starting to show up and start to try to mess with these levels, get rejected by these. We come down here, we say that's enough. We actually saw a pink RSI in the reversion bands. And we finally get our breakthrough. All right? A lot of people want to talk about ETH. We talk about ETH when it's unpopular. Just keep note of that. We waited a very long time for this to stop bleeding, and it finally did, but it made a super clean channel walk. Super clean. Way cleaner than Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin's ambiguous, I tend to look at Ethereum for clarity. If I get the clarity on Ethereum, that's kind of my read from the macro market, and this thing has popped hard. Ethereum, quick reminder, you're not going to catch the wick on the bottom. There's like 2 people that got that. It's moved 100% from the bottom wick. I think on the weekly it was like 40%. These are some serious runs. And where do we go from here? Well, the The thing we had to wait for a very long time and had to watch crypto Twitter absolutely hate on Ethereum. This move, the Ethereum channel walker break, has played out. Just like crypto or all the stocks that we covered before, right? Like earlier in the stream. Rewind if you need to. We went from band to band. We've gone band to band, and we've also broken a traditional channel walker setup. This is textbook whale theory 101. Study it, because this stuff hits repeatedly. And typically, like the Rainbow 3 setups, we go when the odds are way in our favor. Oh, thank you for the spam, Twitch guy. That's good. So we got pop up here, started looking like a BART. We actually show confirmation here. This was holding, and we got a huge volume impulse. If I actually show that, it's big impulse. And from the impulse, it actually went up here, and we've gone all the way up to our mid-range resistance order block, the orange one here. We hit the wall violently. And now we're starting to roll over. Now we haven't, the game's not over. We're not calling for a full BART yet, but we have to know that it's in the cards. I want the S&P 500 to go. I want Bitcoin to go, and then we will get through this order block. And the cool thing is, if we get through this order block, the target's the 4,000, 4,100. Like, we're looking for all-time high. Isn't for, it's been so long. Hold on. No, not all-time high. All-time high is like 5,000, but for the most part, since March of 2024, this has been the wall we've hit 3 times and haven't got through. And long story short, your Ethereum bulls, if we've got enough steam to get through this, the target's 4,000. And if we get 4,000, we're talking about Rainbow Theory traders having a chance to get 150% move on Ethereum. The most hated asset, right? Hate it all you want. Just forget the tickers, dudes. Major order block showed. Oh, that's the other thing. The master support order block here got hit, and it held, right? Little liquidity sweep under it, but now we're going up. Now, the colors here are very, very hot. I don't suspect we're just going to push through this thing instantly unless we get some crazy news impulse. The whales can just push through and run with it. But we want to see these colors kind of cool off, have some resets, and then take a stab at this bad boy. And if they can get through this, we're going 4,000. That's the goal. We get to 4,000. I don't know. Definitely, if you longed at 1,500 and you get to 4,000, secure some profit. Welcome to Trading 101. So that is Rainbow Theory channel walk break on Ethereum, the most hated asset. Predictable moves. We've been talking about this. I'm just walking you guys through it because I want you guys to see these setups before I do, right? So would be not Malifestro says would be nice to have a bullish BART print into that support resistance and see buyer step in. It would. Inflows, nothing crazy on this yet, but I do check to look at far side either way. Show you guys that. Solana is another one. I really like the Solana chart because on the dailies, it's super, super easy. There's an order block at 200. There's an order block at 120. And 90% of the time, Ethereum does this between these order blocks, right? And today, it's no different. We were watching this. It reclaimed the order block. We talked about it and said, hey, is anybody looking at Josh's cloud? It's super thick here. And we're looking for a cloud edge-to-edge trade. And lo and behold, we're almost there. Some other things are rolling around. We may not get it, but this was a big move on Solana. If we want to do wick-to-wick, not that thing there, it's what, 95%? Realistically, if you're playing that, watching the reclaim, you're looking like that to here-ish. That's like 50% trade on Solana. And most of my degens in the Discord who trade Solana don't do it on spots, so they did a lot of damage there. And we're almost getting the BTB, the band-to-band for Carpe Noctum setup, and then we're also getting the top order block here. We're approaching that. We got really, really close. So anyway, moving on. Michael Saylor continues to buy. He managed to DCA in at $99,856, which is just freaking amazing. Shout out Saylor. And we're at 104 right now. So, the channel walker on Bitcoin was not as clean. It wasn't. Frankly, this was a weird one. We watched this for a while because this was the clear support order block. You see all those pivots there. It screams support, support, support. This is clearly resistance order block. And we started getting some reversion band print, or not reversion bands. We got runner bot bottoms here. So we got the Rainbow Trends algorithm saying bottom here, bottom here, bottom here, bam, bam, bam. We started printing additional pivots here, which kind of identified an order block that didn't exist here because, frankly, the move here left nothing. This is all-time high breakout, or not all-time high break. Yeah, it was. This was all-time high breakouts, and it didn't leave any pivots or any support range, and we moved back down into it. So we were like, hey, I'd like to think it doesn't touch this, and it almost did, maybe on some exchanges. But this order block that we were for chasing for like 2 years, if you look at this old crazy chart that we dominated on, we almost got there, but we found support, and we're like, hey, we called this on the last stream or two. This is the support order block, and it's going to be really hard to get through. If we send through it, we're looking for the upper order block. Lo and behold, we actually didn't hit that. We didn't actually struggle. If you notice, there's little whale emoji icons here. Those are Pixa's well print cluster identifiers. What a well print cluster is, you ask? It's when you get multiple well prints in a row. There's 4 of them right there. Bam, 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 bam. Which means these whales went hard in the paint and they shot straight through it. They went up here. They started actually tagging the support of that double, or there's 3 pivots there. Tested it a few times, and then they full sent it up to the upper order block. For all intents and purposes, that is super, super, super bullish reclaim. Congratulations, bulls. You wiped the bears out. We saw some rollover here. It started looking like it could be a potential BART. We even got a top signal here to risk off, try to protect your butts. And then it shot up again, and it hit straight into our previous all-time high order block. So, where do we go from here? We're getting the same kind of rollover of the colors. We go up into the blues with a little bit of RSI heat, and then we go sideways. Pump, go sideways again. S&P 500's coming back up to the all-time high order blocks as well, and now everything's eyes are watching this. Frankly, a lot of people are complacent, and Bitcoin's at 104. Maybe it's got room. There's not crazy volume yet. Volume is not here. So we've got legs to roll through here, but man, maybe this one, we shot through this one, maybe this one takes some time. I don't know. But this is super bullish. You guys forget, a few weeks ago, the streams were depressing, and we were talking and navigating down in the 70s. We're back up to 104. These things, these colors matter. These whales are in control. And it's just a matter of trying to read them. So, moving on. That's Bitcoin. And this entire run from 75 to 104 has pushed a lot of stuff crazy high again. We'll go into some of the alts in a little bit. But the one thing I want to show you is like, hey, back to reality. What are our all-time highs looking like? Runner's all-time highs for the Mare multiple rainbow bands, as well as like stock to flow and previous history, we're still looking higher. My targets are still in this area. This is the time frame based on some previous happenings, as well as market predictions of all-time highs, etc., based off previous all-time high dates, as well as halving dates. It's a bunch of stuff. But I'm actually looking at funding candles right here. We'll put it back to normal Rainbow Trends candles. Yeah, that's another thing. Funding is not super hot either. You guys see this. If I turn on the Rainbow Trends funding candles, when they start getting to the hotter colors, that's when the degens are leveraged up. And the colder colors is when spot is king. Right now, we're back up to almost all-time highs, and we're pure spot. We aren't leveraged yet. The degens are not here yet. So it's good news, because those degens tend to extend the runs up, and they haven't woken up yet. The apes have not shown back up. And we are trying to get back above the 1.2 standard deviation of the Mare multiple. Go look up the Mare multiple. You can go see the math of, I think it's Investor Podcast, posted all that stuff. Just turn on the Rainbow Trends Mare multiple tool if you want to actually visualize it, because it's kind of hard to visualize. But every single bull market ever, if you go back and look at all my old stuff, there's annotations everywhere. We even have Diamond, what's his name? Sorry, I throw stuff on the sides when I disregard, but I want to keep it. We've always hit the red bands for every other single run. Maybe this time is different. Maybe. But every other single Bitcoin run has touched that damn thing. And right now, if we kind of grossly project linear, something that wiggles, our bottom base case is like 200,000 basically. Still 200K. Higher range is looking like 400. Just kind of where we're looking at, right? I know that sounds crazy, but guess what? We were scared as can be at 74 grand. Now we're back up to 104K. Those are the targets. And the big reason why I want to point this out is at some point, if this happens, we need to snap to reality. We need to pay attention. We need to not blow up the money. And I'm going to show a video in a little bit that kind of brings this in. But again, stock to flow model. Everyone makes fun of this damn thing. It's one of the greatest tools ever created. Forget the targets. Look at time. Whales are based on time, just like we were talking about Trump earlier on the S&P 500 and midterm elections. Time matters. If you notice, this thing tends to top out in the orange to yellow time frames, which is based off the days since the previous halving or the days till the next halving, whatever. Same math, just inversed. We're starting to get to the lighter orange, which is like right around here on the previous cycle and like over here back on like the 2017 cycle. So it's telling you like, hey, it's probably the remainder of this year where we top out. And stock to flow right now is calling up for 367,000, which people are laughing at. Mind you, my minimum is like 200K right now. As crazy as that sounds, because I get labeled a perma bull. But before we go to the next slide, shout out Gainsey. I'm going to turn the music off for a second. Thank you all for who are watching. Drop a like, comment, subscribe. Be much appreciated. I want to show you guys this because this is pretty cool. And this is what I was saying. I think we're getting into the end of the 4-year cycle. And I don't want to have people that don't walk away. And this dude is real as F. And it's really cool. And I want to share this with you guys. And I want to make sure that the volume is good. So I'm gonna shut up real quick and play this.
What's my net worth? Big enough to not work, small enough to where I can't spend money like I used to. I can't light money on fire anymore. Am I 8 figures? No, dude. If I were still 8, not after taxes, I'm gonna be fucked. No. I'm in pain. I'm in agony. I need to actually win again. I'm doing horrific right now. What was my peak? More. It was fucking more. I don't want to think about my peak. Let's not ask about my peak. I could have just stopped trading at my peak. I literally could have just, I don't know, sailed off into the sunset, done whatever. But if you make money as a degenerate at your peak, you will still be a degenerate. You can't just eliminate the degenerate out of your DNA. So naturally, I gambled all my fucking money. What's my net worth?
So yeah, most people won't admit that or talk to you about that. And it's a really important point because you guys need to realize if we legit are coming into here and you degen your way up into a bunch of crazy numbers, like I'm going to start screaming at you guys like, hey, you got life-changing money. Even if you don't, like some people even like grinding $10,000 here. You're young in college, living in a cheap apartment. Like it's a big deal. Don't gamble that stuff away over the downfall. When crypto goes cold, it goes cold for years. So keep that in mind. And I'm just Gainsey, shout out Gainsey because that was a really good thing to point out. So shout out to him. Hit a like. If you look at flows, nothing crazy on Bitcoin so far. We've had a bunch of inflows. We're also getting outflows. I'm not so crazy about it, but keep an eye on this. And I'll remind it every stream, take a look at it, because we're getting into the last stages. I don't like talking about this years in advance. I just kind of watch it a little bit, but we've got not a long ways to go. We're getting into the last inning, and we need to pay attention to it. And we need to be one of those dudes who doesn't degenerate. We need to degenerate into this and then chill out of it and learn how to sit on cash. Sitting out in cash sucks, but you got to do it. Otherwise, you're going to stuck in another cycle, unfortunately. So getting towards the end of the stream, I'm going to wrap this up and shout out Dime. You guys will never believe what I've been talked into longing. It's embarrassing. I guessed this on the third try, and then Dime was very confused how I picked up what he was looking at. Do you guys know what this is? Can you tell in the chat what chart this is? I bet you can't. My first guess was Ethereum Classic, and I was wrong. It's actually EOS. So, one of my most hated coins, because it just bleeds and it's an OG dino. It's actually looking like maybe it's not dead. And they're redoing it. No, it's not Ave. It's not Ave Fletch. Ave has a way better chart than that. It's EOS, and Dime tried to sell me on this one too, and it's definitely waking up. We're getting pinks into the reversion bands, and it's rolling over, so maybe it keeps legging up. You can't just do these forever on OG dinos. Dinos don't tend to meme point pump, but yeah, that's fun. Maybe that's a thing. Bleed until you don't. This didn't really... is that a channel walker? I don't know. Not really. Not really. We're just looking. But yeah. But maybe it's going to meme run. I don't really know. Speaking of memes, if you guys didn't know, a lot of the meme stuff went crazy hard this week. Not all of them, but a lot of them pumped really, really hard. Farcoin is continuing to run. And some of the funniest ones I've seen is, I think it was Dip Wheeler was actually saying, like, man, they're selling $10 bills right now for $1.30. You better get some. So I don't train meme coins much, except like SHIB and stuff, because they're really easy to like automate trades on. But they're not moving compared to this. This is wild. It's a 550% run from that bottom. 550. If you want actual like volatility on like the lower time frames, this thing's sick. You can actually get pumps and stuff into this, so it's pretty cool. And it's the worst like name for a coin ever. So when I have to pitch that there's probably going to be a Farcoin ETF to a plus 65-year-old investor, it's really interesting. Mooding as well. Moodang, however you say it. The little hippo pumped like 1,000% this week, and you should see these whale prints. Boom, 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 boom. Pay attention if you keep seeing sustained whale prints, because it means the whales don't give a F and they're pushing price and they want it to go a certain direction, and it went nuts. It's 1,000% run. So shout out to the people who tried to round trip Moondang and ride it all the way to the bottom. Surprise, it's moving again. Albeit it's not all time high, but essentially we're not bleeding anymore. We're back up. I'm curious, what's the market cap of Moondang right now? Top 200. So Baby Hippos, it's top 198 as we speak. So shout out hippos, I guess. If you guys didn't know, hippos are the most deadly animal in Africa. On top of that, hippos are vegetarian. They don't kill you because they are hungry. They kill you because they hate you. So tip of the hat note for you guys to share with your kids at home. Doge, it's starting to show some life as well. Better than EOS, probably. But Doge, well prints again. Set your alerts on these. You guys can automate this stuff with your Rainbow Trends tools, with your alerts on the side of TradingView. Set your alerts on the coins you like, on the time frames you like. Pixel looks at these on 15s. This is looking at it on 4 hour. And Doge did a nice little pump here. 58%. Now, it's rolling over. And we've hit the reversion bands. This is not when you long stuff. You have to wait. Odds are very like 90% odds. It at least goes sideways. Good times are as it kind of resets. And then if we continue going, we'll do that. We have to have some serious volume impulses to get this thing to go up from here without a drive back down. You push this hard into this band with this much power, it tends to want to revert back. And you can see the volume impulse here from the whales. It's fading. It's normal, but we got a volume impulse, right? This thing comes in impulses. Just as they buy into this, they sell into it, right? But the buying's fading off, so we have to see where the natural market's going to let it level out, or if it has to fully reset, and then we can figure out what the next move is. You have to be highly calculated if you're going to try to long pinks or stuff that just recently went pink that's like right in the bands. It's very, very dangerous, especially you're talking meme coins. Real easy to long a meme coin and take a 30% overnight. So you gotta be real chill with that. Wow, we've hit 300 viewers tonight. This is crazy. Thank you guys. But we are at the tail end of the show. We are going to go back to the Discord and go hang out with the OGs. I'm going to turn it on to an open mic, and we have a bunch of dudes in the Discord come hang out and chat All these dudes come in and say hi. They share their charts and ideas. I share my charts. I ask Q&A. And if you want to know where the Discord link is, it's always on the website of the top banner here, this little pink thing. It says join Discord community. Hit that anytime and it'll take you straight to the Discord, because sometimes Discord links are hard to find. I've got a permanent link there that you guys can reference. But that's the end of the show. Thank you for coming out. Any comments, likes, subscribes, retweets, whatever. Much love. It helps us out. And I will talk to you guys next week at Thursday, 8 p.m.